anyone who's worked in a business environment where they've relied on data from an external third party in order to maybe provide some reporting or some insight to their bosses will understand how crucial and critical it is that that data is accurate and meaningful. So in your opinion, Steve, that must cut both ways, and the data we provide to others and external parties needs to be equally meaningful.
That's absolutely right, and I think with the advent of social media, internet, we're opening our organisation's data content up to a much wider audience than we ever did before, and so there's a big reputational impact, positive or negative, from sharing your data content with customers you have, consumers you have, and people who don't currently use your products and services. So I think it's absolutely essential that organisations start to realise that more and more of their data asset is being revealed to the broader public, and they need to think about the reputational impact of that happening.
So what happens, for example, if the data that a company provides to a third party or externally doesn't quite cut it?
Well, I can give you an example from the logistics business. One of our clients had a poor reputation to start with, and through changing the way they managed the data and also managed customer relationships, they gained a very big reputation. So where they were originally, this was in the early days of providing online tracking. So I think nowadays everybody expects that whoever you send a parcel with to anywhere, your online tracking will be there, it will work. But in the early days of that adoption, it was quite often that the tracking didn't work, or you had the wrong parcel number. And our client was in this situation. In actual fact, they were working with a specific contract, so just with one organisation. So they had a known universe of activities to undertake every day. They would go to a certain series of places, collect stuff, take it to a central location, pick it up later on, take it back again. So they didn't really have any excuses for not knowing what needed to be done and when it had to be done by. But they weren't holding the master data. So really the first time they realised there was a problem would be when their client would ring up at midday the next day to say, hang on, where's my bag? It should have been here. And of course then they were in defensive mode and had to spend a lot of time and effort chasing things up. Now, the change that we were able to introduce was to build the reference data set, which didn't exist electronically before, just existed in people's heads, which was essentially all of the nodes on the network and the expected timings of things being collected and dropped off. So combining that with tracking the parcels, they would actually be able to predict what should be happening on the ground. And therefore, if any of the packages missed the target time for arrival at a node, they could proactively alert themselves and they could contact the customer. So suddenly they were being proactive, they were on the front foot.
And it is that proactivity, I think, that we need, especially you mentioned in this day and age of social media and the fact that information gets spread so much faster than ever before. I mean, what sort of amplification effect is that having on bad data management?
Well, I think that's right. I mean, in this example, they went from being an organisation with a poor reputation for customer service to being a market leader. And this allowed them to gain market share in that particular vertical and obviously retain the customers that they already had. And in actual fact, I think all of us recognise that things go wrong from time to time. And I don't know about you, but I find that if something goes wrong and a supplier rings me up and says, we've made a mistake, we're dealing with it, this is the status, I'm almost even happier than if they did it correct in the first place. However, if I'm waiting for something to happen and it doesn't, and I ring up and they don't know who I am and they haven't got my parcel number, then I get very disappointed. So it's that combination of the data content you really need, the business activity, and I think the mindset as well. So converting from reactive, we'll deal with it if there's a problem, to really proactive, we care about customers. We're capturing and maintaining data that will allow us to deliver our services the way we want to deliver it. And I think that shows just how tightly integrated these things are, which again leads us back to this common theme of the whole series, which is it's about business ownership and taking control back of the content.
Yeah, and the message also really seems to be that data is so much more than what we do with the information we have about our products or our people or our customers. Actually, this could be the thing that makes or breaks our entire business reputation.
It certainly it gives you the opportunity to do things that you'd like to do, perhaps, that you can't currently do. So I think, while I perhaps said earlier in the series, I see it as a back office activity, I think the maintenance of the data is a back office activity, but it certainly gives you opportunities on the front line to do things differently and perhaps deliver more value to your customers, be seen as a market leader, be an innovator.
Data really has an important part to play.
Absolutely.
Steve's revealing so many of the hidden aspects of data and the benefits that it can bring to your organisation. So make sure that you're signed up for the whole series just by pressing that button on the screen. And don't forget as well, you can send in any questions or comments that you may have. Just use the contact details that are listed now.